What's up everyone, Tony here for another episode of Super Saiyan Review Super Saiyan. Today, we're taking a look at episode 127 of Dragon Ball Super titled A Looming Obstacle, Pinning Hope on a Final Barrier. After last week's mind-blowing elimination of Toppo, we are down to only one competitor remaining against Universe 7, Jiren. How many times will our fighters punch Jiren only to do no damage at all? Let's get right into that episode recap and find out. The showdown begins with Jiren powering up, like that's really friggin' necessary after the skills he's been showing off so far. In case you haven't been keeping up, no one has been able to inflict any damage on him whatsoever. We get a close-up on Vegeta's lats as he makes his way out of the giant crater he created last week. An exhausted, shirtless Vegeta immediately goes Super Saiyan Blue and fights Jiren at full speed as if nothing happened last week. This is the kind of stuff you just gotta go with when it comes to Super and its questionable writing. Goku, 17, and Vegeta all unleash a flurry of attacks on Jiren, all of which are easily blocked. Jiren goes after the exhausted Vegeta, but 17 jumps in the way and takes the bullet instead. Basically, everyone takes their best shot at Jiren, but in the end manage to do no damage at all. At this point, 17 manages to shoot a point-blank ki blast at Jiren from behind. This actually managed to take him by surprise, and when the smoke clears, Jiren's uniform is slightly teared and he has a couple of scratches on his back. Imagine a small puppy scratching you with its itty-bitty paws, but it is more damage than anyone else has managed to do up to this point. Goku sees this and has a stunning realization. The only way to hurt Jiren is by hitting him with an unguarded attack. So they just need to hit him really, really hard. Clearly, the Super Team has been spending their lunch breaks watching DBZ Abridged.
Wait, I think I might have a way to beat him.
If you say hit him really hard, I swear to God, I will kick you in the dick!
I guess we could hit him really hard together?
With Goku and Vegeta's help, 17 thinks he has a shot, but Jiren yells that will only work once and now goes after 17. Try as they may, even 3-on-1, nothing is seeming to work against Jiren's overwhelming power. Even Goku is in disbelief that Jiren can defeat the coordinated attack of all of their fighters. Well, not all of their fighters. Out of nowhere, Frieza appears. He completely snaps and just goes all out, yelling a bunch of trash talk to Jiren. There's even a direct callback to the scene where Frieza shoots the Desperation Ki Blast at Goku on Namek after he gets sliced in half. But as you'd expect, he can't land a single hit. Frieza then says forget the rules, he's just gonna go and kill this guy right now. He goes golden and rushes towards Jiren, but Jiren easily stops Frieza with his eyes and then just knocks him away. From a distance, 17 shoots another Ki Blast at Jiren. This amounts to little more than a mosquito bite for Jiren. Belmod, the god of destruction from Universe 11, asks 17 what he's going to do with the Super Dragon Balls if he wins the Tournament of Power. And 17 tells him he's going to go on a cruise with his family. This is a hilariously irresponsible thing to do considering how many lives have been lost in this tournament, but 17 isn't changing his plans. 17 asks Jiren what he would do with the Dragon Balls. And as Jiren is about to answer, Belmod steps in to explain why Jiren has such a lust for power. We go into a flashback and see an adorable little baby Jiren running around. However, we quickly learn that his parents were killed when he was young by an evildoer. So now, he's basically Dragon Ball Batman. He was rescued by a mysterious man who would go on to train him, in before all of the fanfiction about this guy. Belmod continues by explaining that the evildoer returned and one by one killed many of Jiren's companions, including his teacher. Jiren continued to train in an attempt to defeat the evildoer, but none of the surviving companions stood with him because he was too weak. All alone, Jiren realized that there is no point in trusting people, and the only thing that matters is strength. Strength will bring companions, and emotions mean nothing. So that's why he's just a robotic, emotionless brick wall of a character in this arc. Jiren tells Belmod to shut his damn mouth, but 17 takes advantage of the opportunity to use Jiren's traumatic backstory against him and starts talking trash. Jiren attacks 17 wildly as a result, and intends to finish the tournament by shooting a massive ki blast at all of the surviving Universe 7 fighters. Goku and Vegeta have been exhausted and laid out for the last 10 minutes of this episode, but 17 with his endless stamina just doesn't get tired. At this point, he activates one of his force fields in order to hold back Jiren's attack from killing everyone else. As Jiren's attack breaks through 17's shields, he looks back at Goku and Vegeta and tells them that he's given up on the cruise. Shields appear around Vegeta and Goku, and the blast engulfs 17. When the smoke clears, Goku and Vegeta survive the blast and get back on their feet. 17 is nowhere to be found, and God knows where Frieza is. Speaking of God, Elder Kaoshin explains that 17 not only created a shield for Goku and Vegeta, but he also self-destructed in order to nullify Jiren's blast. The Grand Priest clarifies that since 17 destroyed himself with a self-destruct, Jiren will receive no penalty. The episode ends with Vegeta getting to his feet. He will face off with Jiren now in a final showdown next time on Dragon Ball Super. 3 minutes remain in the Tournament of Power. The next episode preview really shows us nothing, just an exhausted base form Vegeta struggling to fight with Jiren. But I'm almost certain they're holding back some cool stuff, and that next episode should be pretty exciting. Alright, interesting episode with some stuff I expected and some stuff not so much. Let's get right into those overall thoughts. So the main focus for this episode was Jiren, who received some much needed depth and development this week. I think there was enough material in that 5 minutes or so of backstory that they could have filled out an entire TV special dedicated to the guy, kind of like the History of Trunks or the Bardock special, but unfortunately they didn't quite go that far with it. Nonetheless, I like that we at least got something here to build up Jiren as we head into these final episodes of Super. Shocking news, but Jiren is a very one-dimensional character. Until last episode, he never even smiled. His design is literally the generic, stereotypical gray alien design from the 1950s. And as a character, most of the time, there's really nothing there. He just stands there in silence. And he's strong. He's unbeatable. That's about the extent of his character. I was overjoyed to see even a bit of his backstory just to add something to the dude. Some kind of motivation. I even felt bad for little baby Jiren. So like I said, I think Jiren, a character that has had such a strong focus over the course of this entire arc, is deserving of a full episode exploring his past and backstory. Instead, what we got in episode 127 was a bit iffy. There were lots of still images instead of actual animated sequences from Jiren's youth. They kind of put it on the viewer to use your imagination and fill in the blanks instead of them outright showing us the horrors of Jiren's past, and how exactly it traumatized this dude so badly that he trained and trained and trained until he literally became one of the most powerful fighters in all 12 universes. It's hard to say if this was an actual stylistic choice or if the production team was just forced to kind of rush through the backstory due to everything being on fire behind the scenes. With 3 minutes left in the Tournament of Power and 4 episodes of Super in total, they probably felt they couldn't dwell on Jiren's past for an entire episode. But the more I think about it, the more I would have liked it. There's been so much repetition in these episodes, which I think I'm going to get into later, but there's been so much repetition that taking a full episode to look back at Jiren's past would have been like a breath of fresh air from the tournament, and that would have been great. But in the end, Jiren is essentially Batman. He witnessed traumatizing events as a child that shaped his life forever. It isn't the most unique backstory for a character, but when you think about it, it's a lot more backstory than we've gotten for most villains in Dragon Ball, who are usually just evil just cause, or are created in a lab to be evil. Speaking of things created in a lab to be evil, the other character heavily featured in this episode was 17, in possibly his final appearance in Dragon Ball Super. 17 does manage to go out like a boss, sacrificing himself to save Goku and Vegeta. It's not exactly the most epic way to go out, since everyone was getting their asses kicked by Jiren before 17's sacrifice, and they almost certainly will continue to get their asses kicked next episode, but it was still a cool scene nonetheless. In the end, I think he survived for way longer than even the most hardcore 17 fans could have ever imagined, so good on him. It's nice that in the end he kind of gave up on the ridiculous idea of winning the tournament to wish for a giant boat that he could take his family on, and instead sacrificed himself for the greater good. I'm sure in one way or another, he'll be back. This is Dragon Ball after all. So outside of that, I have a hard time thinking of discussion points for this episode. Even though Frieza, Goku, and Vegeta were around in this episode, there's very little to go over that isn't just what we've already seen before countless times in this arc. If anything, that brings up another point. This final battle is getting very, very repetitive. Frieza pops back up after being knocked out. He tries to do something, fails, and is knocked out again. Like literally useless. Goku and Vegeta try to hurt Jiren, are unsuccessful, run out of energy, and we all know they'll spontaneously get their energy back by next episode and everything will be fine. It's a lot of the same stuff just repeating over and over, and is more proof that having a Battle Royale tournament spread over 50 plus episodes was just a bad idea. Instead of seeing the same crap over and over, why not give Jiren's backstory a full episode? Overall, I'm giving this episode a 3 out of 5 because I liked that we got at least some backstory for Jiren. I did not expect to see that at all, so it was like a cool, nice surprise to actually see it. But nonetheless, with 4 episodes left in Super, this was really nothing special. And at this point, considering we're at the climax of the entire damn series, I do expect more. So that's about it for today. With Vegeta taking on Jiren next week, it's only a matter of time before Ultra Instinct Goku returns to really wrap this whole tournament up. In the meantime, be sure to hit that like button and subscribe to my channel because there is never a dull moment in the world of Dragon Ball. Dragon Ball FighterZ is still hot, and I have a bunch of coverage for the game on the way, including a bunch of awesome mod showcase videos. The progress from the modding scene is already pretty staggering, and it's only been about 2 weeks since the game launched. Also, be sure to check out my full review of Dragon Ball FighterZ. And spoiler alert, I liked the game. And as always, be sure to meet me here at this very same time next week for a review of episode 128 of Super titled, With Noble Pride to the End, Vegeta Falls. Thanks so much for watching everyone, and take care.